Life is this. I like this.
Got so many sins I should washed up, you know. Hey guys, I wanted to make a video kind of introducing myself and what the purpose of this channel would be. I'm not going to I sat down, I wrote down a bunch of points or started to, and it just felt super disgenuine to me. So I'm going to just wing it. I'm not a social media guy. I'm not an influencer. I'm just going to speak from the heart. So a little about myself. I co-own a tattoo shop. I'm a tattooer in Bricktown. Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, for those who don't know where Bricktown is, because I assume that everyone lives in Oklahoma. I came to God in a moment of just falling on your knees, didn't have any other options. My grandparents had died. So my grandpa died November 2023, and my grandma 3 weeks later. Roughly 3 weeks later. And I came to, like, it was just a moment to where I was like, man, I got to sit around and watch all of my family members die. You know, what is the point of life? It sent me into just a wild tailspin. I have 3 kids and a wife. I'm very blessed in the sense that I've always been pretty successful. All the things that people would benchmark as successful. You know, I have big house, nice job, nice car. I mean, all, blah, 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 all that stuff. And I was just really, really depressed and didn't want to be around. And my buddy Trey texted me and was like, hey, you should come to church. And at the time, it was like, the last thing I wanted to be around was a bunch of happy, perfect people, because that was my perception of what church was. Obviously, that's not the case, but at the time, I didn't really know any better. I've been raised going to church and around churchgoers my whole life, but I never really chosen faith for myself, and the way I moved in life certainly reflected that. But so he invites me to go to church. I say no a couple of times. I finally decide to go. It was Christmas Eve, 2024. I go, and it's Christmas Eve, so the service was beautiful. You know, the message was fantastic, and I really felt like the pastor was speaking to me, you know. Really sorry, my kids are asleep. I'm trying not to be too loud. I really felt like the pastor was speaking directly to me. And in that service, they had asked at the end of the service, and if anyone wanted to give their life to God. And people were raising their hands, and they were clapping, and they were praying over him. And I was like, man, I don't like to be the center of attention. So me doing this channel is pretty off character for me. But I felt a yearning to do that, but I didn't really know what that meant. Anyway, so the campus pastor goes around asking everyone to give their life to God, or who wants to give their life to God. And everyone's, a handful of people are doing it, and they're clapping and doing all this. And I just didn't want to do it. And right before he stopped, he said, man, there's a guy here who just came here for this, but didn't want to raise his hand, didn't want to be center of attention. I was like, well, my gosh, I mean, that's me. So I raised my hand, and at the end of it all, they prayed, and I went and picked up this 21 devotional book, and I took it pretty seriously. I followed that book. I got a Bible. I started reading the Bible. I didn't really know if it was going to be for me or not, but I said, my grandpa gave his life to God when he was 38. I was 38. I said, if I could be half the man he was and walk in his footsteps, I'll probably be okay. Let's give it a shot. So I didn't really buy into it all yet. I didn't really, it sounds crazy to say, but I just wasn't really a follower of Jesus. I've done just fine without him in my head, but here I am and just really depressed. So I get a Bible. I start reading it. I start going to church every weekend with my buddy Trey and his family. And every time the message was just, it hit, man. It really spoke to where I was in life. And I started feeling better about it. I started feeling better about myself. I started feeling better about where I was. I know that life is full of tribulations and stuff that I was going through. And it didn't mean I was abandoned by God, So flash forward February. So I started December 2023, February 2024, a few months later, I decided I wanted to get baptized. They were doing these baptisms at church, and I was like, man, I got to get a part of that. I got so many sins I need to be washed off, and publicly giving my life to God was like, it just seemed like something I really needed to do. So I get baptized, my wife and my kids come, and it was just, I don't like being in front of people, and I felt out of place because I'm covered in tattoos. Here I am in church, in a swimming pool, in the middle of the lobby, publicly giving my life to God. And in my head, I was like, didn't fit in at all. I didn't fit in at all. That's just my own mental issues. Anyway, they showed me otherwise. I was welcomed into the church and that lifestyle with open arms. And then I just kept reading the Bible and like doing my daily devotionals, and this weight that was just holding me down kept getting lighter and lighter and lighter, and life made more sense to me. I started getting away from all the sin that I was doing, things that I didn't really necessarily think were sins in the beginning, but turns out they were. I'm not going to go into detail of all that stuff, but getting away from that. And I slowly started becoming the person I always made fun of. I've always been kind of the cool guy. And I didn't think that following Jesus was very cool earlier in life. And that when I would meet people who would talk about God, it was cringy to me. Like I didn't want to be around anyone. Here I am thinking that I knew better than them, right? And it was just so odd. Because now I'm that guy, I find myself tattooing people and talking to them about God. And the point of what I'm doing here is I want to, in the process of me giving my life to God and abstaining from sin, I didn't really know what to do with my free time. Because I was doing, things that weren't godly, like motorcycle clubs, that sort of stuff. And I had all this free time now, and I didn't know what to do. And at my grandpa's funeral, he had this little gold buckle that said "Gone Fishing" on it. And for some reason, I was like, man, I guess I need to go fishing, And I go out in my kayak and I catch my first fish. And I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. I'll keep doing this. I'll go again tomorrow and see what happens. And I went out and I caught my first bass, and I was like, okay, I like this fish. It was fun to catch. I could hold it. Didn't have a barb that could hurt me. And next thing you know, I'm just completely ate up with bass fishing. The truth be told, the first time I caught a bass, I was so stoked. So stoked. And it was a dink. It was just a little bitty guy. but I was so stoked. My wife was super supportive, like, wow, that's so awesome, you know? And then I didn't catch a fish again for like 3 months. So I'm pretty obsessive. So I'm watching every video the internet has to offer on bass fishing. I'm learning all these techniques, and I'm really overthinking it. And trying to learn all these different techniques to catch these fish that I can't get, you know? And, so what I'm doing now is I've decided to kind of just show you the ways that I've found to catch these fish, and then I'm going to have like just a little bit about God here and there. You know, it's not going to be. I'm not trying to be too preachy or a minister. I just think it would be interesting to get a perspective of God and learn a little bit of fishing from a humbled sinner like myself, someone who's used to be a little bit more worldly and out in the world doing, you know, what most people do who don't follow God. And my transformation has been amazing. And I hope that by making these videos, that you can find a hobby that I love so much, like fishing, but also find God or strengthen your relationship with God. It's odd for me to be doing this because I struggle with the unworthiness of being able to talk to people about God. But there's been a few people that I've just spoken to, and I'm just kind of venting to them about the God that I follow. And next thing you know, they're in church too, you know? And it was an amazing moment, like a kind of a, God can use me. Like I don't feel worthy enough, but God can use me. So I finally broke down after my buddy Jacob had asked me or told me a handful of times I need to make videos like this. I finally got this camera, and here we go. So I kind of want to I just wanted to introduce myself to you and let you know, kind of like a statement of purpose, what this video is, what this process is going to be like. And I didn't want to write it down and script it because I don't feel like that's genuine. So every video that I make will be completely unscripted. But with that being said, the boring part is over. Let's get on to some pretty cool fish catches. Let's learn how to fish together. Let's have some fun. Let's learn about God. Check some of these videos out.